I am neither asleep nor awake. I wish to fall asleep and wake up at home, in my own bed. But every time I'm on the verge of sleep, my thoughts jolt me awake with the pain blazing through my body. Even though I am not sleeping, my thoughts have a dreamlike quality beyond my control. My mind travels, gifting me strange visions. They feel incredibly real, as though they are truly happening. I'm on a meadow where we met Kara. There, I'm chasing a white rabbit. I know this rabbit holds the answers I so desperately seek. I run after it, but no matter how close I get, just as I reach out to grab it, it slips away and keeps running. This goes on for a while until finally, the rabbit disappears into a burrow at the edge of the forest. I try to follow it, but the entrance is too small. I can't fit inside. I stand there, puzzled, when someone approaches me. Their facial features are blurred. I can't focus on them. Yet, I know them. Their presence calms me. They encourage me, urging me to be brave and to listen to my inner voice. It doesn't make sense, but I know they're right. Suddenly, my desire to chase the white rabbit shifts. Now, I want to understand what this mysterious figure is saying. Everyone has an inner compass. We can choose to follow it or surrender to the helm of reason. But what's the real difference? My reason tells me why I should or shouldn't do something. It whispers what's rational and what could harm me. Its domain is my mind, where thoughts emerge, guiding my decisions in the moment. Listening to it is fairly simple, but when faced with complex problems, finding an effective solution can be challenging. The mind is like a computer. If too many variables are input, the computation can take forever. On the other hand, my heart sends impulses in situations, a feeling of guilt or joy. But there's a catch. This feeling lasts only during the first few seconds of decision-making. Then, the mind activates, warping those pure emotions with what-ifs. Doubts arise, and I hesitate. I know it's right to follow my heart, the sensation from my chest, the initial impulse. As soon as I realize this, the rabbit hole grows larger, and with excitement, I dive in, eager to follow the rabbit. So, that's the password, I tell myself as I fall into the void. I'm falling. As I descend, relief spreads through my body. A soothing warmth flows from my injured hand, spreading through my veins, heating my blood. The pain rapidly fades, reduced to little more than a scrape or bruise. I feel joyful, anticipating the bottom of the chasm where peace awaits. Yet I start to wake up, but I don't want to wake. I need to know what's below. Suddenly, Adira appears beside me, her face serious, holding out her hand. Slowly, she pulls me back to reality. Even though I want to stay in the dream this time, I listen to her and don't resist. I'll never know what lay at the bottom of that abyss. From this blissful semi-dream, I awaken into reality and open my eyes. The first thing I see is Adira. I look into her relaxed face. It's paler than before. If she weren't as white as a sheet, she'd be perfect. A woman's face during sleep, something extraordinary. I could watch it for hours. Pure, natural beauty. She isn't flawless. There are marks, delicate scars, small imperfections. But that doesn't matter. I realize it's not her physical appearance that captivates me. It's what her face conveys. There's kindness in it, tranquility, and determination, all set against an air of mystery perfectly accented by dark circles under her eyes. Looking up from her, I take in my surroundings. Standing above me is Anitus, holding an empty syringe. He returns it to the open medical kit next to us and pulls out a spray and a curved needle. He examines my face as though searching for something. Then, he leans over Adira's injured leg. I try to sit up, but it's difficult. My body feels like stone. I strain to move a single muscle, and even though the pain has subsided, my body refuses to obey. It takes several moments before my muscles finally respond. Everything feels paralyzed. With immense effort, I use my healthy arm to push myself into a sitting position, immediately realizing it was the wrong decision. Around me, the scene is like something out of a horror story. Dead bodies, dismembered limbs everywhere, the ground soaked with blood. Some warriors crouch over their fallen friends, whether tending to them or saying their goodbyes. I cannot tell. My stomach churns, my head spins, and I struggle even to sit upright. With all my strength, I manage not to vomit and shift my focus to Aegis. By now, he has cleaned Adara's wound and nearly finished stitching it. Her wound is about 10 centimeters long, stitched multiple times. He bandages it with a pressure bandage and releases the belt I'd used earlier to slow the bleeding. He snaps the arrow shaft lodged in my shoulder so it doesn't stick out but leaves the rest inside. From the medkit, he retrieves another syringe and injects something into Adara's neck before moving to my injured arm. I dare not look at my own wound. I fix my eyes above the battlefield, into the treetops, trying to block out the chaos. Strangely, I feel no touch from Aegis, only a peculiar tingling sensation. Aegis is still working on me when a warrior approaches. I'd seen him fighting earlier. He seems uninjured and composed, one of the few. He greets me with a customary gesture and hands me a translator device. Seeing it reminds me of Kara. Quickly, I place it in my ear and ask, "Is Kara safe?" My voice surprises me. It's raspy and hoarse, as if my throat is burning. I wonder if the warrior even understood me. He nods. My next question is for Aegis. I glance at Adara. Will she make it? Every word stings, igniting pain in my throat. Aegis answers,
I don't know. She needs to reach Kotz as soon as possible. She's a fighter. Her odds are 50-50.
After a pause, the warrior reports,
From our group, 3 are fully capable of fighting, 2 have minor injuries, 5 are critically injured, 4 are dead, and Oriana is missing. Plus, we have 3 travelers, 2 of whom are wounded.
Aegis responds curtly,
We need to get the injured to safety immediately. Regroup on the other side of the hill.
Without another word, the warrior departs, issuing commands and aiding with the evacuation of the injured. Aegis finishes my treatment, crafting a makeshift sling from a piece of cloth. He loops it around my neck, securing my injured arm inside it. I'm grateful it's not as if I can move it properly. Aegis helped me up because I couldn't do it on my own. My legs were stiff as stones. As I stood, I left a trail of blood where I had been lying. Taking a few shaky steps, my head spun violently, and suddenly, all I could see were blood, entrails, and limbs. They were everywhere around me, beside me, even above me. I couldn't take it anymore. Turning away from the others, I bent over and began to retch. It took a while, but gradually, I gained control over my trembling body. Slowly, I turned back and saw the battlefield being evacuated. People limped and leaned on each other for support. Those who could still move helped the severely injured. Aegis was carrying Adara in his arms. I joined the others in silence, moving with them. After several minutes, we crossed a hill and approached a growing group of people from the battle. Some lying, others sitting on the ground. Among them, I noticed Kara. She was darting around, treating the wounded with practiced hands. Within a short time, everything was prepared for the journey ahead. The wounded were bandaged as best as possible, hopefully stable enough to endure the hours of walking through the forest. Aegis and Pallas, one of the uninjured warriors, managed to craft makeshift stretchers for Adara and Tychus, who had an arrow wound in one leg and a deep cut in the other. Then there was Kachi, the survivor Aegis had rescued. He wasn't in great shape either, with an injured foot and a horrifying face wound covered by a blood-soaked bandage. The greatest surprise for me, though, was Kara. She must be a nurse or have hospital experience. Her skill and confidence suggested she handled injuries daily. We started moving through the forest. Nobody spoke. Everyone was consumed by their thoughts or simply too exhausted and battered. The silence was broken only by the occasional groans and sighs. I estimated we had been walking for about 30 minutes. The adrenaline had worn off, leaving me feeling drained and aching all over. The pain wasn't as unbearable as I had anticipated. I assumed I had Aegis to thank for whatever medication he had administered earlier. Unfortunately, the same couldn't be said for my neck. Every slight movement sent sharp, searing pain through it. The pervasive silence began to weigh on me, giving space for my fears and unwelcome thoughts. I needed a distraction, so I focused on examining the compass. It pointed in the opposite direction from where we were heading. Seizing the opportunity, despite the burning in my throat, I asked Aegis, who was walking ahead of me, "How does the compass needle work?" "I noticed it changes direction now and then." Aegis remained silent for a moment, and I thought he might not answer. Finally, he began,
The dial and needle shift, depending on the user's situation and needs. You could say it has its own intelligence. It senses your thoughts and identifies who you are based on your unique electromagnetic and energy signature. It also perceives others, people, animals, everything around you. If you learn to use it well, it becomes an invaluable tool.
"Wow." My first thought was of Jack Sparrow's compass or the Golden Compass. Could what Aegis described actually be technically possible? On Earth, perhaps in several hundred years, with enough advancements. "So I shouldn't follow the needle and go the opposite way?" I asked doubtfully. Aegis cast a brief glance at me and replied,
The signs suggest the chance of success is slim. If you tried rescuing the other travelers, you'd likely be killed or captured. That wouldn't help anyone.
Confused, I pushed further. "Then why does it show that direction?" He gave a short, cryptic response.
Because it's the right thing to do.
We continued walking for another hour without a break. My mind was a storm of thoughts about morality, fear, exhaustion, and my own capabilities. By the end of my introspection, I found myself disgusted with who I was and on the verge of losing my sanity. Suddenly, Aegis stopped, and I almost collided with him in my distracted state.
Break 5 minutes, hydrate yourselves.
He announced, setting Adara down on the ground. Then he turned to Pallas.
I'm going ahead. No matter what, keep moving toward Cots.
He instructed before sprinting off in the direction we were heading. Within seconds, he had vanished into the forest. A tense silence fell over the group. Even the moans of pain ceased. We passed around a few leather water pouches, each person taking a few gulps.
5 minutes passed, but Aegis still hadn't returned. Nonetheless, we resumed our journey, now led by a warrior with a bandaged neck, who took his place near the stretchers. We walked for another 10 minutes in relative quiet. Then, out of nowhere, distant screams echoed ahead. Everyone froze, holding their breath. Carefully, the stretchers were lowered to the ground, and the group started preparing for battle.
The sounds didn't seem to be drawing nearer. Instead, they veered toward the left, moving away from us. My first thought was an ambush, that they were circling around to surround us. But the noise kept fading into the distance. It had to be Aegis. I would bet anything that he had drawn them away. A few people exchanged knowing glances before we pressed on, picking up the stretchers again. Moving swiftly and quietly, most of us clenched our jaws against the pain. Yet we kept going.